Welcome back to Big Sky Buckets. I'm Big Sky, and today we're going to talk about the in-season tournament championship. I was busy the past couple days, so let's get on it now. This is going to be a shorter episode, but before we begin, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Every subscription matters as I get this thing up and going. I'm trying to pump out more content, putting more passion, effort, all of that into it. So I'd really appreciate all the support. Give this episode a like, comment down below your thoughts. If you're an audio-only listener, give it a rate, give it a listen. Let's just jump into it. So the Lakers did win. LeBron, in-season tournament MVP. Lakers 123-109. This was actually a pretty damn good game. Only real thing is that the Lakers near the end just started running away with it. That they never lost a single one of the quarters. If you break it down from first, second, third, fourth, they won every one of them except for a tie in the second. That's a good way to win the game in totality. The two main factors of this game, both essentially coming from the Lakers. If you look at the box score, there will be one player that jumps out to you, and that is that Anthony Davis actually played aggressive in this game, which you just wish he would do in more games, but we know at this point that's just not how this thing works with AD. He's an inconsistent offensive player, and you just have to live with that, and that's how the Lakers are going to continue playing, living with the fact that on some games, AD is going to give you this, which is 41 points on 16 of 24 from the field with 20 rebounds, 4 blocks, 5 assists. Incredible. In some games, he'll give you 8, 10. He'll be a lot more passive. And they know that. They obviously know that. They know that from last playoffs too, where every odd game he would be a monster offensively, and every even game in a series he would be passive. If you're the Lakers, you wish he would be more aggressive. You wish he'd be more consistent offensively, but he's not the number one scoring option on this team. It's still LeBron. But you got to give AD props for this game. He played incredible. And he really tested how good of a rim protector Miles Turner was going to be, which is one of the reasons that the Pacers lost. Because Miles Turner eventually fouled out. He just couldn't stop AD. That's going to happen. The other thing, and I alluded to this last time, is that eventually one team was going to take Tyrese Haliburton a lot more seriously and have the defensive personnel to take him seriously. What I mean by that is essentially Tyrese Haliburton has now found himself in the position of being a great guard in the East, and therefore, out of respect for being a great guard who is an offensive engine, he was trapped, and that made a big difference in this game. So trapping is when you send 2 POA defenders, or just 2 defenders in general, to essentially swarm the ball handler, in this case Tyrese Haliburton, before he can start making a play. And Tyrese Haliburton, he likes a lot of going into the mid-range and kicking it out, or trying to go to the basket and kicking it out to wide open shooters. So they just stop that before it happens. So he'd have to call for a lot more high pick and rolls, and then it'd be Buddy Hield or Aaron Nesmith, one of those players having to make the playmaking decisions, or trying to having them create the plays. And that just doesn't work because at this point in time, not many teams, especially during the regular season, will do this. This typically happens during the playoffs when things are taken to a much more serious degree of we have to win these games. Therefore, a lot of the players for the Pacers were not prepared to be the primary playmakers. They played very well. Tyrese Haliburton still played well. It's just that at moments in this game, he was completely taken out, especially come later in the second quarter and definitely in the third quarter. It was, okay, Cam Reddish and Taurean Prince, or Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt, or even it was a lot of Cam Reddish. That was his primary defensive target because he has been so good defensively for the Lakers. But even AD at times, he would be one of the ones because you knew that a pick and roll was about to happen between Tyrese and Miles Turner. Look, the main thing here is the defensive personnel that the Lakers employ are all taller defenders. Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, Taurean Prince, they're all 6'5" and above, right? And so unlike a Trae Young, who is a lot like Tyrese Haliburton in a way, offensive engine, runs plays, but their offense in general is more heliocentric, the Hawks. There's less movement in the offense. So that's one of the things that the Pacers probably just need one more playmaker that can also play defense and that can help combat a trap, which going forward in the East, They are going to trap Tyrese in the playoffs because, first of all, the Pacers will make the playoffs, in my opinion. They are a very good team. There are certain teams that you can look back now during this in-season tournament that did not give Tyrese Haliburton the level of respect that he deserved at the time. Looking back at the Celtics game, having Drew Holiday play one-on-one defense against him was not the decision they should have made. The decision they should have made was putting Derek White and Drew on him and trapping him. But at that time, that just didn't happen. That's whatever, but you learn from that. And this is a really interesting thing that we can now say about the in-season tournament. One of the best things is that this is before it was, this is a good way to evaluate teams that have playoff aspirations. Now we know for a fact the Pacers have a level of intel now that will really help them come trade deadline, which is this is going to be the defensive scheme against this Pacers team come playoffs, is that Tyrese Haliburton will get trapped. In having a guard or front court player that can play make when he has the ball in his hands, that can also play defense because this team's going to need a little more defense, especially in the front court, as we saw during this game, that could really push them further in the playoffs than they once originally thought. I want to throw this out here because I'm still a little iffy about it, but conceptually, I think Pascal Siakam would be a good fit on this team, even though he doesn't shoot the three ball as well. There's so many shooters on the Pacers that I think they can make it through, especially with Miles Turner being a stretch five, putting Pascal at the 4. I think conceptually there's a reason to go after Pascal if the Pacers really want to go forward. I'm not sure that's what they're going to do, but I'd keep an eye on that because I think that would be a really good fit for them. I know he's not in the timeline of this team overall, but it's something to monitor. But otherwise, this is what teams are going to do to the Pacers. It is out of a level of respect for a superstar guard. This is what's happened to Trey. This is what has happened to Dame. This is what has happened to now Tyrese. This is what they're going to do. When you're good at shooting threes, you're good at playmaking, they're going to want to take that completely away from you and make it about everyone else beating you. So having another star caliber player that can play defense and play make would be very beneficial to the Pacers. For the Lakers, congratulations. You did it. First in-season tournament champions. That's what it's about. And really here, this was a great display from the Lakers in totality during this thing, coming together and cementing something. It was a lot. I had come on here and said, this is something I wanted to see from the Lakers, like a real great game. And the thought process of beating them in the paint paid off exponentially, because what you want to do in basketball, yes, you want to exploit the flaws of the other team, but more so than anything, and a lot of teams have failed to do this, especially against the Pacers so far, is play to your strengths. And they definitely played their strengths here. It is with LeBron, who can get to the basket whenever he wants, with AD, who can pressure the basket whenever he wants. So much defensive gravity is drawn towards stopping LeBron or stopping Anthony Davis. That opens up for the shooters. And then in general for like Austin Reeves and even Cam Reddish, with the fluidity that they have and recklessness to get to the rim, that also helps. That pressure really paid off, along with the fact with Anthony Davis and even LeBron, just even if you miss, they also won the rebounding battle by like a landslide. As we talked about with AD, he had 41 points and 20 rebounds. That's a great way to win. And this was a great display overall for the Lakers of this is what our team's identity is. With everyone coming back from injury, playing multiple games to the degree they have of execution. This is what I've been wanting to see from the Lakers. They've been so up and down, but the in-season tournament is something that you can now look back to and say that if the Lakers do go far in the West in the playoffs, you can look back to this is when they found that identity. This is when they executed correctly. This is when they played to their strengths. They played excellent defense, and almost everyone really contributed. And that's huge for them. For the Pacers, it's what we already talked about. Tyrese Haliburton's still a star. He still played super efficient basketball. It's just moments in this game of being taken out completely. That's what hurt. And and it's great for the Pacers. Even though you lost, you now know the deficiency here is just, other than Tyrese, the lack of playmaking in general is a concern for the playoffs when you know that Tyrese Haliburton is going to get trapped. Therefore, you can actively go, normally in the regular season, without the in-season tournament, teams typically don't really know what defensive schemes are going to 100% stop them, because teams don't employ that during the regular season because it's just the regular season. Why exert effort, possibly get injured as much? That's the problem with the 82 grind, but it is what it is. They know now what they need. And that's the best thing that could have come out of this, other than winning it all. If they had won this game, that'd be saying to the rest, to a lot of teams, especially against the teams they beat. They beat the Celtics, they beat the Bucks, and they lost to the Lakers. These are all very good teams. You now 100% know what is going to happen to you come the playoffs, and you have time ahead of the trade deadline to actively make a change. If you really want to push getting out of the first round, second round, maybe even conference finals. I don't think this is a championship contending team yet, but it has the potential to be down the line because they're so young. But yeah, this is a great game. It really just tells the tale of two teams that I think could make noise in their respective playoffs. Otherwise, a lot to learn from this. This was great. In-season tournament was a success in my eyes. They're going to do whatever tweaks they need to do to change things. We'll see what happens next year, but this was a great debut for it. And yeah, that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Power rankings are back tomorrow. Peace.